A very good morning and welcome from that break, and of course the information there that has been shared by the minister who is on a tour in Kigezi. My apologies to Mpigi. Earlier, of course, I made reference to Stephen Mpigi, given the fact that most of the time we are interfacing with Stephen Mpigi on a daily basis. But many thanks, Mpigi, for that report and emboldening our understanding of the inspection of government projects in Kigezi region. Now, allow me draw your attention to the role of religion in society today. Now, we all know that godliness plays a part in the construction of somebody's life, right from birth to the moment they depart this world. One is either an Anglican, a Catholic, a Muslim, and any other dominion, including the Orthodox. It doesn't mean that everyone belongs to a sect or a religion or a dominion. There are those who chose not to belong anywhere. Now, the challenges they encounter are enormous, but it doesn't mean that those who are within any one dominion do not also encounter the challenges. This morning, we are going to understand what religion plays in our society. The readings of history and those that have attended school know that, of course, for one to belong somewhere, it gives them a sense of direction. Whether they stay in that direction is a debate for another day. I would like to introduce my eminent guests this morning. I have with me Reverend Father Kiibi Kateregga. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
We are also joined by Mpigi Sebunya. She is an alumni at the Lubaga Parish Cathedral Tuesday class. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers.
For purposes of curiosity, allow me begin with Mpigi Sebunya. Lubaga Parish Cathedral Tuesday class. Is this an association? Is it a movement? Just bring us up to speed.
Thank you so much. Lubaga Parish Cathedral Tuesday class alumni is an association, and it brings married couples together. It was created in order to actually follow up on couples that got married in Lubaga Cathedral. Before you actually get married in Lubaga, you are taken through a 3-month teaching or preparation, and it is held on Tuesdays. That is how we come up with that
Tuesday class.
Yes, so there is quite a lot that is covered, and by the time you are wedded, you are a full and complete or holistic person ready to get into this institution of marriage.
Okay.
A sacrament that is given, that is holy matrimony. So we saw the need to actually continue to remain in touch with fellow couples, to also remind ourselves about the family values. Remember that this is based on foundation of the church, and indeed with the Catholics we follow the Holy Family, which is also guided by Jesus, Mary and Joseph.
Okay, very interesting that couples are taken through a whole 3 months of orientation for marriage. In the corporate world, that would be classified as orientation, to prepare you for the nitty-gritty, the challenges, and anything that you have to address as you go on. I'll be returning very shortly to you so you can take us through exactly what couples are taught. But allow me ask Reverend Father Kateregga, regular attendance at religious services is linked to healthy and stable families. Today, the stability of the family is wanting, and many can point to the fact that perhaps some families have abandoned religion and God for that matter. The state of affairs is bleak. First, before you tell us what we ought to do, what is your assessment of the family today?
Good morning, dear viewers. It's a blessing to be here. I've always told people that matters of religion are matters of principle. And the association is talking about one of the things, one of the values we are after is godliness in a home. Today, like you said, that we have family breakdown, marriage breakdown. Some people choose not to belong to any religion. Many people who have made a choice not to belong to any religion, if you are to follow them up their background, they once belonged to a religion.
That is right.
But when they grow up, then because of whatever they have gone through, that's why they choose what they choose. So anyway, religion in life is very important. Religion in a home is very important. Like when you were beginning the program, you said that religion is very important in the entire construction of a holistic human being. For me, in Mpigi parish, where I work currently, I did some statistics, and I discovered that only families that have a link or a connection to religion, whether Muslim, whether Catholic, whether Anglican, they have better children. And those families are more stable than others that do not have. And I did some extensive research in my region. So I want to encourage all of us viewers. It's wonderful to belong to a certain religion, because it's very hard to be a self-made person. Very hard to be a self-made home. When I see what we went through in our home where I was brought up, for me, from the age of reason, I saw my father and mother and my other siblings who could wake up in the morning and pray. And you know, we do that on Sunday. We're supposed to commute to church. And when I saw what has been happening, the ups and downs, as we have been growing up, I come to conclude that every family, every home, every person will need to belong to religion so that God may guide our way through life.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is very telling and sums up pretty much the importance of it. Let me return to Assumpta Kemgisha so we can understand. Today, couples are having a lot of trouble. I cannot put a finger to one because I haven't personally conducted a study, so I might not be privy to authoritative information. But the readings of everyday life, what we see in the newspapers, what we encounter with the communities in which we live, we see couples failing to understand each other or even resolve the most basic of conflicts. Could this be down to the fact that either the couples as a whole or even one party are not religious, or could it be a case of simply abandoning some of the principles that could have been taught, for example, in Tuesday class?
Thank you very much. That's a very interesting question. I want to just stick to the issue of, for instance, prayer. One of the things that you're taught during the Tuesday class is the importance of prayer in the family. That you may actually be having an issue with your spouse, but if every day, whether in the morning, in the evening, or both, you get down on your knees and put this problem, say it out before the Lord and request for his guidance and intervention, that there is that feeling deep within the soul that comes out, that if I am the one who is actually in the wrong, like it or not, okay, there's a feeling that you get and a calmness that will come in you to either sit down and talk about it and get a solution. So indeed, Tuesday class, I will testify before you that it actually played a big role in my marriage. I'm sure even out there, there's so many couples that have appreciated what they went through.
That's
so,
right.
yes, it is important to always put God first in your marriage and ask for his intervention through prayer. And when you have children, to also instill the fear of God, that respect, and knowing that there is this unseen, I don't want to say being, okay, who will intervene. It may not be physical, that you can actually touch or see it, but for me, I think that with religion in the home, there is food for the soul. And sometimes, indeed, it plays a great role, a great part in resolving issues in the family.
Conflict resolution. Prayer could be a very convenient vehicle in addressing some of the conflicts that couples go through, or even a family for that matter. But when it comes to using the greater ecosystem that the church provides in resolving conflict, the conflict theory, according to my research here, more puts the religion on the spot of promoting social inequality and conflict. For example, if a Muslim has married a Christian, there are points where they won't agree all the time. When they disagree, many of them fail to understand that they are disagreeing fundamentally because of their religious, foundations. From that point of view, each is unable to abandon and then seek reason based on other parameters. As a church and as a minister of the word, I'm sure you encounter these cases on a daily or on a weekly, say Sunday. How do you address conflict as a church?
Okay, I thank you very much. Conflicts in any community or in any group, that's any group that has more than one people, they are inevitable. There will always be conflicts, there will be issues. But regarding marriage, there is what we call courtship. Courtship. Courtship is the period you take when you are studying somebody. And love goes beyond parameters of culture, parameters of race. You find a Ugandan marrying a Chinese or a Japanese. You find a Muganda marrying a Munyankore or someone from the north. So there will always be issues. But for us as the church, we hope that this period of courtship is you see someone, whether it's Muslim, whether it's Catholic, whether it's, as long as you can team up. But of course, for me, when I'm advising the young people, if you can get someone of your religion, the better for you.
The better. But
again, love can go beyond the parameters of religion, parameters of culture, parameters of race. Recently, I found my friend married a Congolese, and they've been together for quite a good time. So now, for us as a church, how do we address these conflicts? We have what we call ongoing formation on Sunday. One of the things we expect from couples is to attend church.
Find time and attend church.
Find time and come to church.
Before anything else.
Yes, you see, we have a problem currently in Uganda. Our economy is down. Then then unemployment is high. So we are having so many young people. They have unmet goals. Some are 30. They are not yet married. Some, so we're having so many.
Some are 30, they don't have money.
Yeah, they don't have money. They have no jobs. So we're having so many who are frustrated. So we're having so many who are moving to Middle East, so many who are going on. So there is a very big confusion, not only in Uganda, but I think in many African countries. So now these things are having an encroachment on the marriage setup. And people need to keep commuting to churches, to mosques. You must come and listen to this word of God so that we instill some kind of godliness. It will help you to manage your conflicts in a home. And this when you have more than one religions in a home, as long as you agree to love each other during courtship, that's enough for you to keep going. these issues, the setbacks, the disappointments, the divisions, the conflicts, you know, with the time, because of love, they can, you can manage them and keep going. So I want to encourage each of us who is watching, let God be at the center of your marriage. And again, when you are choosing a partner, you must know about them. Don't just find a beautiful young lady in the town, then all of a sudden fall in love within 1 year. You are introducing. No, take time.
Wait a minute. Within 1 year, you're speaking as if a year is very short a time for you to make a decision on who you're going to love. A year. No. There are people who say 3 months, 4, 6 are enough to make that decision.
That's not enough. Love at first sight is no longer applicable today. When you find someone, go and discover where he or she is born.
That's right.
Know their parents, his siblings. Then see his behavior, the personality, the character. Then judge, will you manage to live with him or her? I've been asking people when I'm wedding them in Uganda, allow me to say it in Uganda, that muno nyaba bezi naye muwasika mufumbirikika muzalikamu mukubika empeta mubereka namwe, because people only discover after they are already trapped. So let God be at the center of your lives, of your marriage. If you have two religions, then talk about it. How are you going to pray? These children whom we are going to have, how are you going to bring them up? We have witnessed so many couples who are changing from one religion to another because of marriage. That one I seconded. I support it. So that these children may have one direction on how to go. So when God is in the marriage, the entire system is okay. When you kick God out of it, you have more time for work, you have no time for church, you have no time for God, no time for prayer. With the time, the system breaks.
Just follow up on that, Sumpta Kemgisha Sebanya. The good reverend spoke about something that everyone out there is going through. Mwasika.
Mufumbirikika.
Mwasika. That is down to, are you lovable?
Exactly.
Okay. Within the 3 months of the Tuesday class, are people taken through this so that they can ask the fundamental questions? I want a rich man. I want a man who has done this and this and the other, who has built himself a house, who is established. I want a man who is 6'7", you know. When you're 4 feet, do you understand the dynamics of what you want? Is that taught in Tuesday class?
Oh, yes. It is. Actually, like I said, they cover a wide range of things. I remember in 2008, while I attended the Tuesday class, we had a couple that ended up knowing that they were not meant for each other. Yes.
Wow.
And they actually did not go forth with it after a month, because they then discovered that this is not the person I really want. So, as Father has said, muwasika. Okay? What does that go to say about my intended spouse? That this is a man I met in the streets of Kampala, and within a month, I would want to walk down the aisle with him. Then before I know it, he's probably a night dancer, or or he's someone who does not even believe in family. Whereas I may wish to have children, he may not wish to have children. Okay? So are we compatible? Am I willing to compromise that and say, okay, fine, I will get married to him as he is, and agree that we're not going to bear children, but this is how we are going to move on in our lives. I mean, it gives you that time. It gives you that time.
And again, in addition, when I was at the cathedral, you said, well, I was at the cathedral for 4 years. and I was among those, I was part of those who could guide the Tuesday class. So when you come to Tuesday class, we try to sensitize you about the sacrament. The sacrament. What are you entering into? We are hoping you did courtship. Yeah, we hope you did courtship.
Does that mean one who didn't or hasn't gone through courtship is effectively told to ensure he does that first? Or
no, we don't ask you that.
You do an accelerated process.
There is no one who comes to Tuesday class when he's young. For us here in Uganda, age of reason is at 7. Then that's age of reason. But now legal age for marriage at least above 18. Above 18.
Above 18.
And for the man, 22 and a quarter. I think according to the Constitution, 22 and a quarter. Then for the girl, at least 18. You know. So when someone is above 18, someone is mature enough to make a decision. Sometimes I wonder, you find girls, they are PhD, they have PhDs. Some men have PhDs, masters. Then I reflect. You find those even who never went to school, they were able to get men and the women. Then you find those who have PhDs, they have masters. But in the entire Uganda, you fail to get someone to marry. Someone to get married to.
All right. Now,
so
that's a tricky one.
Yes,
and,
yeah, of course it's a tricky one.
Yeah.
But you know, we hope that you find someone out there, maybe at your place of work, maybe in school, at university. Then you see each other. You go and know everything about this man, about this young lady, about this young man, about this boy, about this girl. Then by the time you make a decision to come to church, you know who you are bringing to church. The problem we have today, we're having so many young people who are in age of crisis. They are 35, no man. Some men are growing old. So now they are at a point that whoever comes, I can go with that person. So I want to encourage each of us.
Let me transition from love and relationships to the church or religion and politics. The challenges that Ugandans and people are facing right now are enormous, and often the church is looked at as one of a go area to be able to survive some of these challenges. However, the church also finds itself in a spot of bother, especially when it comes to politics. I don't know how you are navigating this, because many times to simply talk about the politics of the day puts you in a position of discomfort, so to speak. Have you been steady first in talking to people, especially who are facing the challenges of the day? Politics, economics, finances. How do you address that?
Yes. First of all, our good Uganda, we have a very, very wonderful motto: for God and my country. This is a God-fearing nation.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are also devastated. The other time I heard our father here in the country, our president, was downgrading our archbishop, our bishops. He said they are the ones who killed Jesus and so on. So then even you find that there were some politicians, the way we are addressed. So this one makes people sometimes to doubt our authority in the nation. Then even we're having some of our big people, big religious leaders, whom we see they have meandered. Maybe because of money, you find someone is a puppet to politics and so on. So then when you come before the people, people can no longer trust what you're talking about. But the religious leaders of those years back, their word were taken as serious as must be. For us in the church, we have an advantage. Every Sunday, we have different readings. These readings talk about, some talk about politics, some talk about economy, some talk about money. So for us, we are holistic, the Catholic Church. We talk about all issues. At least if we don't talk about issue A on Sunday, talk about issue B. But now we're having a problem with the politics now. For us, in our DNA, as a religious leader, we must be non-partisan.
Yeah, sure.
When you stand at the pulpit, you must not show any side. Because in the congregation, you have NRM, you have NUP, you have DP. So just go and preach your word. But again, the church expects us to talk about religion of principle, values, values of justice, values of integrity, values of good service, and so on. So we have tried to talk about how people must love their country, and when we see things that are not going on well, we talk about them.
All right, we hear pastors, we hear religious leaders talking about them sometimes, although the tone, like you said, many are increasingly finding themselves in a challenging position. But anyway, that is a discussion. We are trying to understand holistically what religion can do for society. And within the aegis of the Tuesday class, Assumpta, I know finances are integral, management of money. Increasingly, we are having cases where divorce and the cutting and division of wealth and assets is an issue. So much so that people are now forced to sign what is called a prenup. If we break up, my money stays with me. If we break up, I can only give you 25%, or you can take 75%. How are these issues addressed? Because finances and money are central in holding relationships, not for the sake of money as such, but for what it does, the ability to make life comfortable, the ability to help us attend to the issues of the day, provision for the men, security and comfort. How is money and finances addressed within the settings of the Tuesday class?
All right. When it comes to family, everything almost, we run on money. You have children, they have to pay school fees, you need to buy a house to have shelter. The couples will even invest together. Now, when things go bad, and like we said, if this family did not put God first, is not prayerful, does not have the values, you now begin to look at these earthly things. For sure, even if you decided to go for a divorce, now under civil law, okay? I mean, what are you talking about? You're talking about the properties that you probably acquired. You're talking about children. We've seen some people actually think that children are also property, they should be shared. But at the end of it all, it is not going to give you that holistic self. Whereas you may think that you are going to get comfort by going away from that woman that you took before God and swore that you would be with her in health, in poverty, in whatever it takes, okay? And now you're saying, I am tired and fed up of this person just because you had a deal of a few millions the other day. Or I'm just imagining you know, what some of these things would mean. Then you have probably gone against your values as a family. Because when you met, you had a certain dream or wish, and if you shared it with your spouse and you have worked together towards obtaining that goal may have required money to actually reach it. For instance, we want a house, okay, and we have gone and I'm working and he's working and put money together and now we have a house. But then we have gotten some misunderstandings. Why? Because I probably feel that I spent more money while either purchasing the house or building the house, and therefore I should be the one who should take this property. But remember, I committed before the Lord. I walked to the cathedral in the presence of so many people that I would be with my spouse, irrespective of what it is. So indeed, money, for me, I look at money as a blessing, but it can also be a destroyer of families. So my appeal out there, and this is what I learned from the Tuesday class, let us not be taken up by the earthly things, especially when we are talking about marriage. We are talking about the holy sacrament of marriage. It is a sacrament. It is, I promised before the Lord that indeed I am going to work towards that family. I'm looking at the Holy Family. And under Tuesday class, we do this, we remind one another. Okay, because after the wedding and the partying and the fanfare, yes, what happens thereafter?
The reality
begins to dawn on you. You probably even discover certain things that you did not anticipate. But because we have this continuous follow-up through the Tuesday class, alumni, you then go back and reflect on yourself. You actually share with one another. And luckily enough, we have quite a number of patrons because for the Rubaga Parish Cathedral Tuesday class alumni, we have the different groups from January to December, couples that were wedded in this month. And we have patrons, and our patrons are actually the priests, okay? So where we have gone through a counseling by each other, we also invite our patrons. So whichever priest will be assigned to, listen in and assist. But for sure, what you have said, and in the day-to-day that we live in, you see that money, if you do not have a limit to thinking that money is a solver of all issues, I think then you are losing it.
Thank you very much. I will allow Reverend Father to have the last word on this, on money, very briefly, but also end, and I would be remiss if I don't ensure that you do touch on this issue, the growing threat that the family finds itself in with regard to challenges, including homosexuality.
Okay. In addition to what she has said, now, today, the issue we're having more people entering marriage for wrong reasons. You find a young lady, he sees you, you are very handsome, you work on any TV, and you look you look to have some money. And even I've had some rumor that these days there are some girls who want finished products. They don't want these young ones who are going to go and they suffer. They want finished. So when someone sees someone like you is going to do whatever it takes to steal your heart, then all of a sudden you may also panic and go into marriage when she has wrong reasons. Then even this is we're having men who are being married by women because someone is poor, someone's life is failed, so he also gets this woman as a sugar mommy or as a wife. But the reality is this woman is the one who has married this man. So even the man, you wait a bit, even the man now...
We're going to have to wrap it up.
Yes, yeah, even the man, okay, the issue is that we are having this because people enter marriage with the wrong reasons. That's why they say, in the case we break up, this percentage belongs to me. So I want to encourage each of us here that enter marriage with the right reasons. Everything will be okay. Now regarding homosexuality, homosexuality is indeed a growing threat. But again, I see we are having a lot in media than what's happening on the ground. A lot is being talked about. The issue seems to be as if it's too big, irrespective of the statistics that have been carried out. Now, for us as a church, wait a bit. For us as a church, we are having, we have always been condemning homosexuality. We have always been talking against it. For me, I've been to almost all the top schools here in the country, everywhere. I've been to schools in Rwanda, to schools in Kenya. Everywhere I've gone, we have been talking against homosexuality. I want to appeal to our dear parents and everyone, every elder, every guardian, to be very close to your children. Try to see some traits. Whenever you see abnormal traits in your boy, in your girl, talk to them. When a moment comes that you can't talk to them, please make appeals to religious leaders and even counselors.
All right. Thank you very much. Like you said, that is a big topic that cannot be, of course, dealt with in the space that we have for our Take Note. Many thanks, Reverend Father Kiibi Kateregga of Mpigi, and Assumpta Kemgisa-Sepunya, a member of the Rubaga Parish Cathedral Tuesday class. I'll leave it at that for Take Note, and of course allow us to transition into the Kickstarter discussion. We shall be talking about the inclusion of persons with disability in election processes. Do stay with us.